Well, hey everybody, welcome in and let's talk about watches. My name is Tim and tonight we're going to delve into the solid silver watch from Croton. And I want to be clear, this is not finished as though it is silver or layered in silver. This is a solid block of 925 silver. Here's an opportunity for a grail to own a solid precious metal watch. So if you want to get started right away, and I frankly recommend it, here's what you do. There's a link off to the side or underneath, depending on how you're watching us, and just click on that, and all the final show prices will be right there. Very quickly, a couple of points. If you're new, thank you and welcome. We're glad you're here. Please join our email list if you've not yet done so, because you'll get access to the deals of the day and also access to our private Facebook group. And it's that group that gets access first. For example, the reason that so many of these solid silver watches are already gone, well, A, the deal is that good. B, that group knew about it in advance, and so can you. When you're on our email list, you'll have access to that group. Now, both the email list and the access to that group are free, so do so over at talkaboutwatches.com. By the way, we will not spam you, and we never sell or share our list, so you're absolutely safe with us. The other thing I want to mention very quickly is we work with PayPal Credit, and that means you're going to be able to pay this out over 6 months with no interest and nothing down. And basically, it's really simple. Once you qualify, you have 6 months where you are enjoying your watch. Again, nothing down with no payments, and as long as you do pay it out by the due date, there are no interest charged at all. So it's a very cool, and frankly, it's a very flexible way, much more so than the 6 rigid payments that a lot of people are used to. Right now, if you want to go that route, just divide by 6 and there you go. But this will give you an opportunity to double down on the month or skip the month or do whatever. So it's great flexibility and affordability, and you'll see that option on the final page of checkout. So just click the PayPal credit box. Once you qualify, you are good to go. Also, if you would, please do us a favor. If you like what we do, please share this video and all our videos around. It'll really help us out. It'll just take you a moment, and it helps us grow TAW. It helps us get the word out as we get more good deals on a very regular basis. Now, we're going to, at this point, get underway, and let's talk about a true grail owning a solid precious metal wristwatch. Check it out. So let's delve into the world of solid precious metal. This, of course, speaks to luxury, it speaks to prestige, and frankly, it speaks to inaccessibility, I think, for a lot of people, because it's, frankly, as a rule, costly. But here's the thing, not tonight. Tonight, partnering with Croton, TAW is taking this grail, and we're really making it accessible. So I want to open by that. And then we'll get into some other things. Now, first of all, the watch that you're looking at lists for $1,500, $1,500, which makes sense. After all, it is a solid block of 925 silver, contains a Swiss movement, and uses sapphire crystal. There's also ceramic involved, and I'll get into that in a minute. But here's the thing. First of all, it's not going to be near $1,500. Your choice, and there's 3 different ones. You're going to get the white, or there's a black that has a rich gold tone that includes, by the way, a gold layering across the dual display and clasp. Or you can get this in a very rich blue color. So 3 different color options. Again, all of them built of solid 925 silver as far as the case goes. So from $1,500, here's what's going to happen courtesy of TAW. Your choice at $179.99. Now I'm going to say that again because that's important. This is only $179.99, not for 316L steel, though the back of this is done in that hypoallergenic material. This is a solid block of solid 925 silver. You own a solid luxury precious metal sport watch at just $179.99. This gets even better. If you'll order 2, and it can be any 2, you can get 2 of one color or pick your 2 favorites or whatever. First of all, the price drops to just $299.99. So if you round it out, it's $150 a watch. And again, not for steel, for solid precious metal, solid 925 silver. That's amazing. And here's what else. You're going to get the now very sought after Croton Toolkit. Perfect for almost any watch out there. It lists for $49.95. That will be included with any purchase of 2 of these at no additional charge. And by the way, no matter what combination you pick, shipping is included across the board. Now, I have to tell you, there's not even 50 per color of these to go around. This is going to go very quickly, so please do take advantage of this. Now, I thought a good place to start on this would be to talk a little bit from a personal level, because myself building, or working with rather, Croton in building solid precious metal watches, we go back. Croton and I did a record-setting show, I believe it was either '03 or '04, where they did the solid 18-karat gold watch. I grabbed one of those, and I hope you guys did too. That set a sales record. It went just huge. I can't get into exact numbers, but I will tell you in 1 hour, it was a solid 7-figure result. It just blew up, and it should have. But then Croton and I put our heads together, and we're thinking, what can we do that hasn't been done? I can't really say hasn't been done because it's not like solid silver hasn't been used, right? If you look at pocket watches, especially the luxury built, they're a great example of solid silver watches. But what we discovered is no one had built a solid silver sport watch. So around I want to say it was 2002 or 2003, that Croton built a sport watch of solid 925 silver. We brought that out, and it absolutely blew up. If memory serves, I think it was completely sold out in one airing. It was 2 airings at most, but I think it was just one, and completely gone. They didn't do it again until very recently. And again, it wasn't stainless steel. It was solid silver. That was the hook. And it sold out for on or about $299. Now again, keep in mind, this is circa 2002, 2003. Now, if you follow the commodity of precious metals, obviously there's a lot of fluctuation, and I want to be very clear, I am not a financial advisor, and I don't advise on investments at all. But the fun of this is that as we're bringing this out tonight, that as I looked recently, silver is now 3 times the cost of what it was in 2002 and 2003. So you could understand why Croton was kind of hesitant, I suppose, to do this. But the bottom line is they ponied up, and tonight you guys are going to benefit big time because they contain a Swiss movement, which I'm going to get into, sapphire crystal, they have a ceramic bezel, but the big deal, a solid block of silver, solid 925 silver, not layered, solid 925 silver makes up the cases. So basically, I'm in the TAW office minding my own business, and they get contacted, and they have created another solid precious metal watch. And I wasn't aware that they'd done it, to be honest, but then they went even further. Here's the deal exclusive to TAW that we're willing to do. And I just went through that deal. And I'm looking at this, and I made sure that they would verify it, and they did. So, okay, we're going to run with this. So let's delve into the watch specifically, because this is pretty amazing. Beyond the fact that this is solid 925 silver, and I'll keep coming back to that, but that is a very big deal. There's much more to this. The case is 42 millimeter by 11 millimeter. And by the way, 42 on the wrist actually plays larger. In fact, let's take a look here. This is actually one I grabbed for me. I took the white, as you can see. And the reason it plays larger is that the way they designed this, with the crown, it's 46 millimeter. And that, from a visual aspect, is really overall how this tends to be judged on the wrist. So I did measure this with a caliper. It is a 42, but as you can see, it plays larger, and it's due to the crown configuration, which brings it out to about a 46. 3 different colors, as I mentioned. Let me hold them up quick. Here's the white. You also have the black. Now, the thing about the black is that that black dial has selective layerings of gold tone, for example, in the halos and around the hands, and also the dual deployment. And all of these straps have a dual deployment for a very important reason I'll get into here in a second. This one happens to be layered in gold. So if you want that really rich gold and white effect, the black is what you want. And I think probably the most sporty of the bunch is going to be the blue. And it's a very rich blue dial, as you can see. All of them have the dual deployment clasp. So let's delve into why this is important beyond the silver. And let's start, for example, with the movement. The movement that's in here is a Swiss Ronda 5030D. And that means you've got a very accurate, very efficient quartz chronograph. And hence the 3 eyes, as you can see on the dial. So what you've actually got is your second hand, and then you're also going to have your 12-hour totalizer and, of course, your minute totalizer. This movement also gives you the quick set date, which on this configuration will put that down around the 4 o'clock. Now, I said I would come back and talk a bit about the clasp and why that's important. And indeed it is, so I want to talk about that right now. And that is because each one of these watches is mounted on a genuine Stingray strap. And I want to be very clear about that. This is the genuine exotic Stingray. This is not well, it is a leather strap in the sense that it's got the padded leather backing, but it isn't an embossed leather. This is the real deal. So you've got a very soft leather backing. Usually with these exotics, it takes a lot to break them in. This one, there's going to be almost none because of the soft leather backing that was used to create, obviously, the back of the strap. But the top of this is the genuine exotic Stingray. And by the way, Stingray is nearly indestructible. You can actually hold flame to it, and it doesn't affect it. It's this amazing tough material. It's my understanding they actually have to use lasers sometimes to physically help create the straps because of the toughness of the pelt. It's a true exotic. It's got a great sport appeal to it. And that's what they use to mount these watches, and I think it's the perfect choice. Now, another thing this watch has is genuine sapphire crystal. And in this price range, and keep in mind, we're talking just $179.99 for one or $299.99 for two. And again, if you order two, you get the toolkit. But this is not steel. This is solid 925 silver in this price range. And if you're going to build luxury like this, it's solid silver, obviously having the genuine sapphire crystal makes a great deal of sense. And Croton did the right thing and upgraded you automatically to sapphire. So you've got the exotic strap. And by the way, Stingray, if you've ever priced it, is rather expensive in and of itself. That's a true exotic, lasts a really long time. And it's got that great sport appeal, as I mentioned. So you've got the exotic strap, you've got sapphire crystal, solid precious metal case, and remember the dual deployant clasp. The reason you want a dual deployant clasp is, first of all, they're very easy to size. For example, if you want to slide this up or back, and obviously you would, right, to make it fit on your wrist. I can tell you, I wear almost exactly an 8, and there's plenty of room left. I would say no more than a 9, and to be safe, unless you wear it snug, I would go with 8 3/4 tops. If you wear it snug, you can probably get away with a 9, but I wouldn't go much above that. But let's talk about moving beyond the strap. One of the other things I think is really cool. So I mentioned, obviously, solid silver. You've got the deployant clasp. You've got the exotic strap and the Swiss movement and solid silver. Okay, let's talk about this bezel. The bezel is solid ceramic. Now, if you follow the luxury market at all in the last few years, you know one of the hottest high-end watches on the planet is a steel and ceramic build. In fact, they get significant premiums now for this, especially in secondary market. So what Croton did is they took a look at this concept, combining ceramic and steel, and they said, what if we did one-upsmanship? And instead of using the steel, we're going to create with what? Solid silver, hailing back to what they did circa 2002, 2003. Doing it in a market where silver is frankly selling for multiples of what it did back then, which to me further indicates just kind of how brazen Croton was in putting this whole thing together in the first place. So when you take a look at this ceramic, not only is it the combination that's important and very luxurious, but when you look at the engraving on this is units per hour. In other words, it's a tachymeter. So this will allow you to automatically calculate miles per hour, basically units per hour, by simply using the built-in stopwatch or chronograph from a stop point to a finish line. It does not have to be miles per hour. That's the beauty of a tachymeter. It can be miles per hour, kilometers, or whatever you want to be. As long as it's been measured out in whatever units you want, you are good to go. So you've got the tachymeter in the bezel. This is a fixed bezel, which makes sense in this kind of a build because this build is actually modeled after a racing style watch, if you will. Now, if you're going to model something after, when you think of a sport watch, a lot of them are modeled after dive watches. And dive watches, of course, the unidirectional bezel does tend to make sense there because a real dive watch would have that, right? Well, this is modeled after motorsport racing, and there's really not a need for a unidirectional bezel at all in motorsport racing, so it makes sense to have this very rigid. Plus, frankly, you'd want that with a tachymeter because that's based, as I mentioned earlier, on the timing of the chronograph, so that totally makes sense there. And this is ceramic that has been brilliantly mirror polished. And let's talk about ceramic a little bit. Ceramic is a very cool luxury material in wristwatches because it's nearly impossible to scratch it. A diamond can get to it, but very little else. And basically, if you keep it away from diamond jewelry, and don't forget emery boards, because a lot of emery boards contain diamond dust, you keep it away from that. This should basically, from the bezel standpoint, which is ceramic, or for that matter, the crystal, which is sapphire, it should basically look perfect pretty much forever. Now, the bezel is therefore lightweight, but very strong. As I mentioned, nearly impossible to scratch. Plus, it's impervious to UV radiation, which means the color stays perfect forever. And the mirror polishing that is on this is just that. It turns into a black mirror. This is a fantastic black ceramic that they use, and that absolutely pops against the mirror polished silver. Now, coming back to the case again, and this is important. The reason that this case looks so brilliant as it moves is because it is mirrored, as in mirror polished silver. And again, I emphasize, especially for those of you just tuning in, this is a solid block of 925 silver. This is not silver over steel, and it's not steel that's just polished to resemble silver. This is the real deal. This is the grail, owning a solid precious metal watch. And again, this piece lists for $1,500. You can pick up any one of these. Could be the black, and again, the black choice is the one that has the gold tone, or the blue, or the white, and it's only $179.99. And again, I have to underline, this is existing quantity only for this deal. We cannot do rain checks on this. But if you pick up two, and it can be any color combination while they last, that's going to be just $299.99. Plus, anyone that steps up for two of these, you're going to get the toolkit that lists for $49.95. And of course, I'm referring to the Croton Toolkit, which a lot of you guys know. So you're going to get that. Think of it as a bonus, I suppose, included, and shipping is absolutely free across the board. So what can I say? I'm a big fan of this build. I think that this opportunity is a fantastic option for those of you who want to combine sports and luxury. Oh, you know one thing I left out verbally, I'll mention right now. This is tested to 5 ATM water resistance. And that means it's good to go in most things. I really wouldn't recommend it for much swimming, and certainly not for scuba diving, stuff like that. For basic stuff around the water or working, playing, you're going to be more than fine. This has got a great rugged durability. And obviously with a sport watch like this is, that's something that you would want. So you have that built in as well. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, but let's recap what's going on here again really quick. This is a 42 millimeter, and with the crown, it's about a 46 millimeter, so it'll wear fairly large on the wrist. The case of this is solid precious metal. It is solid 925 silver. The back, which is a screwed-in back, by the way, is 316L surgical grade hypoallergenic steel. Inside of this is the Swiss Ronda 5030D quartz chronograph that will give you a quick set date. The bezel is a fixed ceramic bezel that is engraved to give you the capability of a tachymeter. The crystal is sapphire. The strap is genuine exotic Stingray, and that comes also with the dual deployment clasp, which is very important. So listing for $1,500 each, $1,500 each. While they last, it's only $179.99 through TAW, and if you happen to pick up any two of these, it can be any combination of colors you want while quantity lasts, that will be just $299.99, and you're going to get the Croton Watch Toolkit, and that lists for $49.95. That will be included as well. And as I mentioned earlier, no matter what combination you choose, shipping is included. So guys, I hope you enjoy this new grail. Not a lot of people get an opportunity to own solid precious metal in a wristwatch, and we'd like to think at TAW we've really made this accessible for you tonight. So thank you for checking it out, and we'll see you guys back real soon for another edition of Talk About Watches Live. Be well, everybody.